This time I'm going to be looking at WWE Day of Reckoning. This was THQ's third wrestling game on the GameCube, and I'm looking forward to it since I did enjoy WrestleMania 18, and I wanted to play 19, but my copy of that game isn't working, so here we are. So far, the GameCube games have all been pretty good. They've had a few problems, and it's clear the developers were learning from their mistakes as they kept making games. They were just continually improving the series that they were working on, both here and with the Legends of Wrestling. At this point, I have yet to come across a bad game. I've been very impressed, both with this game and with the other ones that I played from THQ. This one was a big upgrade from the previous game that I had played from this developer. This was Yuke's again, and I think they learned a lot from making games on the GameCube with 18, and I'm assuming 19. And here with Day of Reckoning, they did an excellent job. It looks a lot better, and the gameplay is a lot better. There is a story mode with this, which is great. I'm glad that they were able to get it in. It's pretty good. You take a generic wrestler or one that you've created yourself, and then you try to turn them into a superstar. The story mode works like an advanced tutorial in some ways. It reminds me of one of my favorite fighting games on the PS1, where you had to complete specific tasks in each fight in order to win. So that was kind of fun. It made me think back to something else that I liked, and that's always a good thing. A few of the missions can be a little frustrating at times, but none of them have been overly hard from what I played here. You'll have a match where it's like you'll need to do 2 finishers in order to win. You need to perform several aerial attacks or jumping off the top of the rope to hit somebody. You'll need to win in a specific amount of time, etc., etc. It's pretty cool. I do like that they added that part in here. I've completed a few of the missions in order to just advance the story, and so far it's been nice, just the way they've done it, but it feels very linear, and also you don't get a whole lot of, information about what else is going on in the whole WWE universe. So that was a little disappointing. It's nice that it's here, but I think it could have been a lot better. Overall, I like the way that the story mode is set up. You get some nice cutscenes, kind of explains what the story is going to be. You start out in Ohio Valley Wrestling, and you have to work your way up to some of the main shows, so that's really great. But yeah, I think it could have been a lot better. It also would have been nice if I could have taken one of the existing wrestlers and done this with them, instead of having to either create my own or play some guy with a jobber shirt on. For the most part, I like the gameplay in WWE Day of Reckoning. It is an easy game to learn and, figure out how to play it. I like the grapple system a lot with its weak and heavy attacks, and the story mode was decent enough. I've already gone over the story mode, so I'm not going to repeat myself with that. In short, I like the way that it's in the game, I like the way it ranks you up, but overall it's a little bit too linear for me. The controls are mostly good. It can be a little annoying to get the hang of, getting in and out of the ring and climbing up the turnbuckles at times. Once you figure it all out and practice a little bit and get the hang of it, it's perfectly fine. The grapple system is quite good. It feels closer to what you might have expected with the Aki wrestling games from the N64. Well, it isn't exactly the same. I think it is quite good. It took me some time to get a handle on just the GameCube controller and the reversal system with this game. This was pretty much all my fault. I kept pressing the wrong button to do the reversals. The little Z button got in the way of the L and R switches, and that just kept on messing me up. Nothing to do with the way the game was actually set up, it was just me fucking it up. There are plenty of match types in the exhibition mode to kind of get you through this. There's a lot of stuff going on here, and it feels like that is still part of a holdover from the party game aspects from WrestleMania 18, where that one didn't have a story mode at all, and it was just, focusing on multiplayer. At least that was the impression that I got. Overall, I'm very happy with this game. WWE Day of Reckoning is a very fun wrestling game. And, it's one of the better wrestling games that I've played so far. The changes to the control scheme were excellent. The story mode was decent enough. And, yeah, it was nice to see what the developers had improved on it. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they've improved in the sequel as well, because I like this one. I'm probably going to like the sequel to this. This is a very good-looking game. The character models are well detailed. Everyone looks excellent. The ring entrances, the crowd, and the cutscenes, they're all great. The move animations are excellent. I didn't see anything that looked awkward or strange. The only thing that was a little off to me were the top rope moves. Those were a little hard to do. When I was trying to actually land them, it seemed like I would miss more often than not. And I'm not sure if that was my fault or something that the game was doing. I'm going to lean towards it being my fault because that's usually what happens. The crowd in the ring look good. The cutscenes are really a nice addition to this game. They work really well in the story mode just to explain what the hell is going on with this. I wish they would do more with it, but they are pretty good for what they are. A little odd thing that I noticed was at the very beginning they didn't use any footage from the TV shows. I found that a little odd because so far I've seen that done with every wrestling game for the most part, at least on the PS1 when they had a license or they had characters that they had licensed, they usually showed like TV footage of it. And they didn't do that here, which was a little strange to me. I've noticed that with a few other wrestling games as well that I just haven't done reviews for at this point. But overall, it's a very good looking game. I really like the way everything is done. The ring entrances are incredibly good. I love the way that they did that. There really isn't too much else to say about this. WWE Day of Reckoning is just a really good looking wrestling game. It still looks nice when I compare it to other games that were released around the same time. Just the graphics on the GameCube have aged quite well when you compare it to stuff that was on like the PS1 at this time, and also things that were on the Dreamcast and the N64 as well. For the most part, the reviewers really liked this game. There were only two that I saw that gave the game a score lower than an 8 out of 10, and that was EGM and the New York Times. Reviews can show up in really weird places when you start looking for them. So the publications I looked at were Game Informer, GamePro, GameSpot, and IGN. Game Informer gave the game an 8.25 out of 10. They had a second look with this game, and that reviewer gave it a 7.75 out of 10. The first reviewer liked the game overall, but just had an issue with the sound. The second reviewer was a little harsher and pointed out how the story mode was fairly shallow. GamePro just has a very weird scoring system. I think they gave the game a 4.5 out of 5, and then they had a user review come in, and that was a 4.2 out of 5. Overall, they liked the controls and the number of match types. Just, GamePro, I don't know what the hell they're doing. Like, they had just a weird set of scores, and I think you have to aggregate them to get the final one. But it's just a very weird way that they laid out their scoring system on their website. GameSpot gave the game an 8.2 out of 10. The reviewer liked the game overall, but thought that the story mode was too linear. They added that it was Yuke's most successful effort to bring the action of the WWE to the GameCube. The review was obviously done before the second game came out, and it'll be kind of interesting to see what they did with Day of Reckoning 2. IGN gave the game an 8.3 out of 10, and it pretty much echoed what GameSpot had said about the game. I didn't notice anything like drastically different. It was really just the same. Like, they repeated a lot of the talking points from the other reviews I read. They did call the game a worthy sequel to WrestleMania 19, and I kind of wish that my copy of that game had worked so I could draw more of a comparison, but yeah, that's a story for another time. Just going over these review scores, I can tell that Yuke's was making improvements to their games, and how they were actually making them. They were taking a lot of the feedback, or at least it appeared that they were, and trying to improve what they were doing. It kind of makes me excited to see what they're going to do with Day of Reckoning 2. This game was a lot of fun. So far, this is my favorite wrestling game on the GameCube. I've got 2 more to go, so there's a good chance that the sequel is going to surpass this one. I'm just really happy that I haven't played a bad wrestling game on this system, and I haven't really played a bad one in a while. This is an odd series of wrestling games, and I kind of wonder why THQ decided to drop the WrestleMania branding from it and go with Day of Reckoning. The only thing that I can do is speculate as to why they did this, and that's not really what I want to do here. I'm looking forward to seeing what changes were made when they did Day of Reckoning 2, and if that game is better than this one. I'm assuming it probably is. I'd really like to check out the story mode for that, to see just how they changed it and possibly made it better. So, yeah, fingers crossed. I'm assuming that one's going to be really good, and yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. Anyway, that's going to wrap things up. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will talk to you all later. Bye.